The world's eyes are on the Russian bear as it marches over Eastern Europe, but is the greater menace to the world lurking in the East? Does China intend to rule the world? China is, without a doubt, a significant global power. Based on your standards, it may be the world's only superpower after the United States. With a population that is more than twice as large as that of the United States, it is the most populated nation on Earth. It is one of just a few nuclear powers in the world, has the second largest economy in the world, and is the third largest country in terms of area after Russia and Canada. It is unquestionably the dominant force in Asia and may have much higher aspirations than that. What, though, are China's open plans for the world? To delve into some startling facts, watch the video till the end. Why China is unlikely to surpass the United States as the world's largest economy. The inexorable rise of China has been one of the great truisms of international relations for decades. The betting among academics, politicians, and diplomats has focused on how long China will take to overtake the United States as the world's largest economy. As the economy advanced and living standards rose in one of history's fastest transformations from a third-world rural nation to a highly urbanized society, it seemed inevitable given its sheer size, land mass, and population. However, the road to becoming the biggest is becoming more dangerous. China is going through a lot of growing pains. China's growth prospects. How does communism function in China today? China is the most populous nation in the world, with 1.4 billion inhabitants. Because of this, China's communist leaders are influential and have the potential to retaliate or influence other countries for perceived slights by imposing trade restrictions, taxes, and other barriers to imports. A province and local government is the first level of the legislative government and is chosen either by elections or by higher government officials. The State Council comprises roughly 30 to 50 department heads from various government agencies. It is the next body to address the National People's Congress, or NPC. The NPC, which consists of about 3,000 members, is the highest organ of state power and has complete authority over the constitution and laws. All members report to Xi Jinping, the paramount leader and leader of the Communist Party. According to the New York Times, the NPC is a carefully crafted pageant intended to convey the image of a transparent, responsive government. Xi Jinping thought is a strategy for enhancing the Communist Party's authority and was heavily influenced by Mao's regime. China is currently putting its trillion-dollar Belt and Road Initiative into action in 70 nations, making these nations utterly dependent on China as the hub of all international trade. China can effect significant change due to its economic and military dominance. All eyes are on China's actions and goals in Taiwan and the South China Sea. Will the country's Communist Party leaders go any further? Time alone will tell. China's economic power. China's economic successes are seen as a modern economic growth miracle. Looking back 50 years, the PRC's economy might have been more present, despite being significantly more extensive and populous than either Spain or the Netherlands. China's economy lagged behind theirs, but over time, China has transformed into a central hub for manufacturing. China is the world's most significant manufacturer of consumer products, producing everything from textiles to electronics to automobiles and selling them on the global market. After the United States, China has the world's second largest economy and the fastest economic growth. Nearly all experts agree that China will surpass the United States in GDP by 2030, but disagree on the specific date. China has attracted more FDI than any other country, from $4.4 billion in 1991 to $168.22 billion in 2019, which indicates that its economy is quite appealing. The agreements and affiliations between countries are a significant component of state economic power. China ranks second in imports after the United States, $2.3 trillion, with $1.7 trillion. According to the WTO, China exported 7.9% of all global commodities and only imported 6.6%. Another noteworthy fact is that since 2006, China has invested more than $1 trillion abroad. The world has been impacted by Chinese investments in almost every region. China is already a regional power in Asia. Still, it wants to increase its global influence by focusing on emerging nations like Africa. Furthermore, in terms of the One Belt, One Road initiative, announced in 2013, the African continent is suitable for expanding its geopolitical influence. The main objective is establishing maritime and land-based shipping routes connecting 69 nations in Eurasia, Africa, and Oceania. Building ports, railroads, and roadways are necessary to achieve this goal, which will require massive foreign investments. By contrast to the American-dominated transatlantic region, this project demonstrates China's intention to establish a China-dominated Eurasia. China's economy and military might overtake the United States, but it will never become a worldwide powerhouse. The idea that China is becoming a new superpower and displacing the US from the global power structure is a topic of continuous discussion. This narrative has advanced significantly due to China's recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic-related global economic crisis and Donald Trump's policies of NATO alliance alienation over the past 4 years. There is no question that China has already established itself as a worldwide economic powerhouse. By 2028, it is predicted to overtake the US as the largest economy in the world. Despite being behind the US in military capability, China is closing the gap due to increased investment in weaponry technology and developing various covert weapons. The question is whether the Communist Party-led China will ever be as formidable and complete a powerhouse as the US has been for the past 8 decades. There is little doubt that China will surpass the US in terms of economic and military might sooner rather than later. During the Cold War era, when the US and the Soviet Union fought for supremacy, the Soviet Union's military might and ability to lead alliances came close to matching America's. But even at its height, the Soviet Union could never challenge US dominance in either economics or culture. Before China rivals the US as a global powerhouse, it must overcome several geopolitical and cultural obstacles, much like the Soviet Union in the past. China, the emerging military power. China is rapidly expanding its armed capabilities, recently introducing a new aircraft carrier. President Xi Jinping has directed that the Chinese military be modernized by 2035. By 2049, they ought to, in his words, develop into a world-class armed force that is capable of waging and winning wars. The most technologically advanced warship ever produced in China, the Fusion, is a Type 003 aircraft carrier that was unveiled in Shanghai in June. The aircraft carrier is China's third, and unlike the first two, it was built by Chinese engineers. According to experts in the military, the electromagnetic aircraft launch system aboard the Fusion represents a significant advancement for China's Navy because it makes it possible for the ship to carry bigger planes and allows for quicker aircraft deployment. By the end of the current decade, China is expected to double its nuclear arsenal, according to the US Department of Defense. The report claimed that China likely plans to have at least 1,000 warheads by 2030. The report was referred to as wild and biased speculation by Chinese official media, which also noted that nuclear forces were held at a minimum level. According to analysts at the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, the number of China's warheads has been growing recently, which publish annual evaluations of global stockpiles. Even though China has denied testing hypersonic missiles, Western experts believe 2 rocket launches last summer showed China's military is well on the way to obtaining them. According to the US Department of Defense, China is now wholly dedicated to developing intelligentized combat or future military techniques based on disruptive technology, especially artificial intelligence. China's Academy of Military Science has been tasked with ensuring this occurs through civil-military fusion, or combining Chinese private sector technology enterprises with the nation's defense industry. According to reports, China may already utilize artificial intelligence in unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned naval boats, missile guidance systems, and military robots. China had not fought a war since 1979, when it went to war with Vietnam, so many of its military capabilities are untested. Yet, its war planning tells another story. However, there are reasons to doubt that China will follow this course if it truly wants to become a worldwide superpower. Let's see which way the wind blows. What do you predict about China winning the title of the mightiest superpower? Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the channel as a sacrifice to the gods of the algorithm. Thanks for watching.